Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. If you're here already, it's just a bit of a different kind of stream that we're doing today because we're just gonna do something a bit fun and a bit different. Just gonna look at like talking about flogging a dead horse with all this, but we do love to talk our crazy predators, don't we? So we're just gonna have a look at the screen names of these people, and there's some crackers out there. Yeah, do you like that one that's on there?
Which one? Rick?
Yeah. What's even
What?
funnier is what he says. I'm going to report you to the Yahoo police or whatever he says. Like the concerned. And with me is Shins Koala. Hello, sir.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
And Amanda James is with us again.
Hello.
And there's some absolutely cracking fucking screen names in the TCAP universe. So the best we'll get to that later, but we might as well have a quick chat about the one that's on screen now. I mean, Rick's talented tongue is quite a. I mean, what can you say about that, really? I mean, do you know what makes me laugh with these guys is they're going after these kids. Wouldn't it be better to call yourself Saint Michael or something? Do you know what I mean? Or like fucking Jesus, to get the honourable man or whatever. You know, it's like Rick's talented tongue.
Yeah, but I don't think that they're this. Well, I actually don't know much about this guy, but a lot of these guys are just opportunists, and they're really looking for anyone, and it's the decoys that end up snagging them. So I would assume that if he was looking for a child, that wouldn't be his name. I don't know.
Imagine if someone was like called Child Predator 101.
I think they're just looking for a reaction. They like can I rape you anally said. It gets a reaction, it gets people curious and interested, and that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, clears up any ambiguities.
You sort of Twink Toilet's best friend's mom's cancer's in the house.
Names are great. I want to change mine, but I can't. I want to do that. But.
That's so funny. You, Shin, we were talking about ideas for something a bit different, and you said that some of the screen names are a little bit of a window into the soul of these guys with some of them. Rick's talented tongue, I mean, you can only go so far with that one, but some of them is a little bit of an insight, isn't there?
Yeah, I was thinking more of the names like Westerbeck's Change for the Better, and that Kit Kat dude's, what was his, something like Need a Friend to Talk to, those kind of soothing, seemingly harmless, hey, let's just talk. And my point when we were talking was that's actually, the name itself is actually part of the grooming process. That starts it, that's to get somebody who's interested right away.
Yeah, well, it brings us quite nicely onto one that we wanted to talk about. I don't want to talk about the Predator specifically in detail because we were talking earlier, Shin, about doing a whole stream devoted to this guy, and it would be rather dark because of the nature of this particular. I mean, we're not going to be. I mean, there are some predators that you just would laugh at continuously, but change for the better. Guys in the chat, who just we'll have a bit of a quiz here. Who's changed for the better? Who's the first one to come out in the chat and say who it is?
Well, we gave the answer, man. I think we did, didn't we? Or am I doing it now? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I'm just going to Westerbeck. There you go. Father Son's got it. Westerbeck. Now, this is a guy which there's so many. Listen, we're going to have to touch upon it. There's so many elements to that what make Westerbeck vile. One of them is the screen name and the fact that he's like supposedly religious, and he brings it up when he's talking to Chris. But Because
Yeah.
he got caught previously. Do you think that that screen name was like changed?
Huh.
He put that screen name into effect after the last time he got caught.
Yeah. Does everybody, Amanda? Do you know the background? He was already getting ready for sentencing. Stuff like
Yeah.
that? Okay.
Yeah, I do. And I think you're probably right, Andrew. He probably did, or it's likely that he created that screen name after he got in trouble, and maybe he vowed to himself that he was going to change for the better. Because that's what he says to Chris, right? He says, "I'm weak, I'm stupid." And who is he talking to? Maybe it was in his interrogation. The detective asked him if he was planning to get one more for the road or whatever.
Yes.
I can't remember exactly. Yeah, but I think that was his intention.
Well, the big line was when he said he just left himself wide open. He said, well, "I learned my lesson the first time." It's like
Right.
being interrogated for the second time he got caught. Which whatever.
We will do a stream fully devoted to this guy because there's a lot to talk about. He's an interesting character, obviously infamous probably, but yeah, I agree, Amanda, about him. This is the way that I kind of could potentially see it with a lot of these people. He has a very sick nature to him, but maybe there's a battle going on there because he's religious. It's a little bit like me on the dating apps. Sometimes you get frustrated with it. You meet a few people, it doesn't go well, you have a fling or whatever, and then you just think, you know what, I'm giving it a break for a few weeks. And then after about a day, you sat at home and you're thinking, oh, fuck, I'm bored. And then you end up going on it again. And I reckon it's like that with these guys, some of them. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I think that this... You see, the thing is, with dating, it's exciting anyway. But to these guys, if they're getting a buzz off of nearly getting caught and doing something forbidden, it's going to be so alluring to them, isn't it? And he might have said to himself, yeah, I'm never going to do it again. And then there he is in the chat room again.
Yeah. I think Westerbeck is a true pedophile who's driven by compulsion. And, I mean, like you said, he was on his way to prison for doing that. And maybe that's why he is religious. Maybe he kind of turned to a higher power to give him strength so he could fight these compulsions. Obviously it didn't work. He didn't read his Bible enough.
Or give the appearance of doing that. I mean, I don't know. But you got to remember that for those of you who don't know much about this case, the hearing he was coming up for was for sentencing, and the sentencing was already decided. So he knew how much time he was going to do, but the issue about whether he was going to have to register as a sex offender was an issue. And so he had that hanging over his head, and so what does he do? He throws out a crucifix here and there and has a Bible in his briefcase and calls himself Change for the Better and has all of the indicators that he's trying to do that. And then he just does this. So
maybe that screen name was just for appearances.
That's what I'm thinking now. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily to snag somebody, but it also had a another effect, that worked for him.
Yeah, it's interesting. We can maybe speculate about that a little bit more when we do a plan. Like I said, I plan to do a full stream just on that individual because he's pretty. There's a lot of elements to it, but yes, there's definitely something in there with regard to picking the screen name and that, and with regard to something which is a little bit maybe insightful. Let's just have a quick chat about. Someone already mentioned it in the chat, so we might as well dive straight in there. No pun intended. Bald beaver hunter.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Amanda.
Oh, I was just going to say it's one of my favorites. He doesn't, pull any punches. He gets straight to the point. lets people know what he's looking for, and it's pretty creative. It's despicable, but it's pretty creative.
And it's kind of outside his personality too. It sounds like kind of an aggressive name, a manly. You know, I'm going out looking for bald beavers. You know, and then he's just the total opposite. You know, gentle Elmer Fudd. You know, he's not. He's the totally opposite of this aggressive sexual maniac that his name implies. You know, he was a pretty sad character. But what possesses him? You know, given all this, you know, I guess he just lost his brother, right? Was it suicide or something? I don't remember what it was, but during the interrogation, he was lamenting about that. You know, when he was alone, praying to his brother, which was pretty sad. He had a marriage, apparently. He was married, too. Okay. I don't remember. Did he say anything about his relationship with his wife or anything like that?
Not that I can remember.
He did say that his marriage isn't going well. That was it. There was no other.
He hated his job. He was I guess a window manufacturer for a window company. And he just goes balls to the wall with that name. It's funny, you know. You would think he'd be a little less aggressive, you know, when you're getting beaten up everywhere in your life. But anyway, it's a funny name, and it just turns sad.
Well, it was funny when the was it Catherine Reed he was talking to in his interrogation? She mentioned his screen name, and he said he started laughing a little bit, and he's like, "Yeah, but I didn't, you know, I wasn't looking for kids when I made that screen name. I swear."
I know.
Like, bullshit.
It's
Nice
crazy,
try.
that, isn't it? I looked at his interview the other day, and I was like, "Did he really just fucking say that?" Absolutely.
Yes, some of these names are so bad. Like a little off subject, but when an interrogator, it happened with Maurice Wolin, when he waived his rights and he decided to talk to him, and the first question that was asked of him was, "What was your screen name?" And he would have to say Tall Dreamy Doc, and that was way too much to get somebody to open up right away. He should have eased into that. These names, some of these names are just so self-explanatory that you just kind of want to let it sit back for a while. But if you start off the interrogation with that, they're going to have to admit to that, and chances are they'll lawyer up, which is what he did. Couldn't say his own name. But Catherine handled Bald Beaver Hunter nicely. She just kind of brought that down to the end. She went with his emotions. You know, first he's thinking she's a therapist, and she's kind of taking advantage of that a little bit. She's being very nice, but yeah, that name was brought up a little later.
Yeah, have a look at what's on your screen now.
Who we got?
Generic white male. Oh God!
What is there to say about him? He's one of my. He's just the comedy value that's contained within them brief, short, like appearance. It's just so funny. Every word. It's like the way he says "what." It's just so funny.
It's a very fitting screen name, though, isn't it? He looks like any guy you'd see at the dry cleaners or
I think
your neighbor.
I think he's trying to be funny. I think he's trying to be sarcastic.
Is he though? I don't. You see, I was thinking. Of course, he's either trying to be funny or he thinks of himself as like a genuinely average guy, and he thought not to try and accurately describe him, but yeah, is there a? Because he doesn't come across as the guy who's purposely funny. He's indirectly funny, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? A little bit like Lorne is that we laugh at him and not with, we laugh at him and not with him.
When he says generic white male, it's like he's saying nothing special, right?
Yeah.
But in his chat log, you juxtapose that to I'm cute and built good.
No, he's not.
He lost his humility there from his name, you know. I never read his chat log. Have you guys?
I've not. I've never really wanted to. He comes across as such a not a lovable character, but an endearing character. Like we like innocent, bashful people, but the guy's a child predator. So I can't like. It's like I almost feel guilty for liking him.
It doesn't help that he came in scratching his balls too. So
I don't
and the outfit, the wardrobe was just, I loved it. I mean, I that person deserves an Emmy. Whoever dressed him up with that attitude, with a cell phone that was on his side.
No, he didn't have the earpiece in. Didn't he have one of them ridiculous Bluetooth things in his ears like Lorne did?
I think he just had it like on his side, like his like he would holster a gun. You know, it's right there.
Sure, he had one of them Bluetooth things in his ears.
Could have.
I don't remember if he did. I know Dustin did.
Maybe I'm getting mixed up. Although they don't look at all alike, do they?
No.
What? No way. And what? Don't forget about him, like him sliding down he fell down the porch on the way out, didn't he?
I think
that was the best part.
There. I don't think he slipped. I think he lost perception.
No, but the way he did it, the way that he kind of just thinking about it now, it's funny.
He like stepped off the step without realizing there was dead space there. You know,
yeah.
He accidentally stepped off the step.
Well, I think
great part.
He probably can only see out of one eye.
That's
and
true.
I think he just misjudged the step. But I'll tell you, his takedown was beautiful. I mean, there was
no messing about there, was there?
No, they spun him around like a carousel and put him on the ground, and he was so arrogant, even as he was being manhandled. It was great.
That was the Florida sting, right?
Yeah. That's what just before they had that clip where the truck comes flying up like moving in on an arrest, and it goes up on the lawn. I have no idea why they had to have the truck just skid up on the lawn like that, But you ever see that? It keeps. I'm like, what's the purpose of that? Just stay in the road. It's only like 4 feet away. But
Scarlett Ebony's just said the stairs almost did the job. The job for the cops.
Yeah. He was
can someone turn the Skype noise off?
Oh, that's that. Is that me?
It's whoever's getting Skype messages.
Okay.
It's not me, I don't think.
It is me. I know it is.
Right,
hold on a second.
You can just turn yourself on Do Not Disturb, and the voice won't come through. The sounds won't come through.
This is going to take me a while, guys. I'm really sorry. Hang on.
It doesn't. Whoever's Skyping Shin, just stop for the time being, will you?
Yeah. Well, I don't think they. I think who knows? It may not be. I'm trying to figure this out. I don't want to screw up where I am with you guys, so I'm going to open another Skype screen.
Don't worry about it. So while Shin is mulling around with his technical issues, which will probably take a while, Amanda, do you have like a favourite screen name?
Yeah, I think so. I have several.
Go on, just pick one.
Meat Rocket 8 is great. I love that one. I think it's really funny. And especially when you see the guys that are attached to the screen names. What's his name? Jay Ruffner. He, I don't know how to articulate it, but he does not look like the kind of guy who would call himself Meat Rocket.
No.
I also like Hamburger. I always wondered.
What is that?
Right, that's what I wondered. What is that? Was he trying to say hamburger and it was a typo or misspelling? Or is that really how he pronounces hamburger? Or was he trying to say hamburglar? Like the McDonald's character?
I think there is. Oh, it's me making noises now. I think there is actually a reason for it.
It was his handle when he was a truck driver, when he drove truck.
When he drove a truck.
Yeah, that was his. Well, that's what he said, or I read somewhere. I think I can't remember, but that makes sense. But Bubger, yeah, kind of a weird one. And I love the Meat Rocket. Meat Rocket. What is he? 08 or 09?
8. Meat Rocket 8.
Yeah, which means in reality that
it should be Meat Rocket 3, really, probably in reality, wouldn't it?
Probably 2.5.
Meat Rocket. Is it still? Is it off now? Is it me? I don't know. I didn't do anything. I'm actually. Or was it you the whole time, Andrew?
No, it was you.
Okay, I still haven't done anything, but I got the screen open. I just don't know where to say it. Do not disturb. Okay. But go ahead.
Meat Rocket 127 was taken. Yeah. Look, like you said, Amanda, he could have called himself like Meat Rocket 3.5 or something. I mean, surely that wasn't taken, unless every number, even every decimal point, was taken. But I like he's an interesting character. His old Jay Refner. I was part of a group, TCAP Facebook group, and someone spotted him in the supermarket. And he took a photo of him, put it on the
that's
Facebook
my dream.
group. What, seeing him in the
I would
supermarket?
love to see not necessarily him, just to see a predator in the wild, in Walmart or the grocery store or something. I would love that.
Not in court, getting shackled like me and Shinsaw.
Well, I had the opportunity to do that, and I missed it.
Oh,
and I'll never forgive myself.
Why did you do that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Just didn't have the time. Stuff was going on.
Listen, if I could travel all the way from another continent, you could have jumped in a car.
That's true. I'm
Go to
ashamed.
another county. We tried. I tried. As a matter of fact, she even didn't you give us some bar recommendations, some pub recommendations or something?
I did. Yeah. You guys didn't come down.
Yeah.
You guys didn't.
I'm hoping that what we did was described enough to make it attractive for people to come next time. So.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just anticipating when Lorne's going to be in jail next time. Can you imagine if we were all there, though? All of us in the background, and there was like, we were there, TCAP Recipes, Scarlet Ebony, and Cord We Trust. Everybody was like just hanging around in the back, and Lorne was trying to pick us all out. Like, it was. I know I keep going on about it, but it was crazy. We should have.
He'll be wondering which one is Winnie, which one is Nathaniel Trevor, which one is Xavier.
Yeah. The seating. How many people do you think were in those? I'd say it could probably fit about 50 people.
Oh yeah, well, don't forget there was room on both sides, weren't there?
Yeah, I'm kind of including that, but that would be a crowded courtroom. That would be, especially for that courtroom, because it's pretty out there up north. Not as busy as something like New York or something, but I was thinking it would be, hopefully the reaction would be so good that you and I, there wouldn't be room for us to go in there, and it wouldn't be fair if we did, because we weren't the first one to enter. So, but we're there to party anyway.
Yeah, just walk in with the Mike's Hard Lemonade, and we're here to party.
We fear no fish.
Oh dear. Do you not think Meat Rocket 8 kind of looks a little bit like Tobey Maguire?
Like an inflamed Tobey?
Yeah, like a inflated Tobey Maguire, maybe.
His voice winds me up. It kind of makes me laugh as well. I have 2 children from my wife's previous marriage. It's like, oh God, man. And he was sweating like fuck, wasn't he? I thought he was going to fall over.
Yeah, you imagine his mother coming to represent him.
That's right. Yeah, she was she a prosecutor?
She was a city attorney for another county, but just, oh my God, couldn't you just do crack or something, Jay?
I know.
What?
I know. It's
right?
crazy.
Wouldn't that be awkward and so embarrassing for his mother professionally? For her colleagues to know that her son did that, and then of course she had to represent him. She's his mom, so of course she's going to. Ugh.
Yeah, and it's a personal embarrassment for her too, because she knows it's going to be on NBC. She's going to be on NBC herself, not just her son. But I have to say, I have a lot of admiration for that woman. I really do. I mean, it'd be hard. You'd have to do it anyway. But she had to help her son, and I couldn't have made her life any easier professionally. You know, I don't know. I'd love to know whether she she stuck around for a while after that.
Yeah. That's enough about Mr. Refner. So there's someone I've put on screen now, Ice Truck Killer, which is obviously a little bit disturbing, but of course, you know. Do you remember specifically? Wasn't that the guy who was like had a bit of a lisp going on? He didn't seem too confident. He said he's got.
Yeah. I actually almost felt bad for him a little bit.
He's my most sympathetic predator. If there was a spectrum like that, he would be my most sympathetic.
So you have a guy who's really like low on confidence, really kind of in a difficult spot in life. You did have that feeling for him. So, of course, Scarlet Ebony, we all recognise it from Ice Truck Killer being from Dexter. Do we believe that? Just obviously, this is speculation. Was it because he was a fan of Dexter? Is it like an insight into Ice Truck Killer was a TCAPist? Or was it like because he knows he's kind of indulging in criminal activities, it's his way of kind of mirroring it and getting a bit of a buzz out of it? Maybe. Am I looking too deep into it?
Father and Son is actually accurate. Ice Truck Killer was a fan of TCAP and enjoyed the interviews with Chris and Opie and Anthony and whatnot, which is interesting. But I think that name, I think that most people, you know, a lot of people, Dexter was a very popular show, you know, and I think it would be kind of a cool name, I guess, for people who are big fans. And they know who it was, you know, what they were talking about, who they were referring to when they say that.
I think it's kind of like Bald Beaver Hunter, where they're really insecure in real life, so they kind of make up this alter ego online, you know, and sort of act like a different person, a more aggressive or confident person, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never read this guy's chat log.
But what was like? Do you know when you say that Ice Truck Killer was a TCAPist? Is that really true? Because I watched Dexter for season. I can't remember it.
He knew he was in the middle of the shitstorm.
Right.
He knew.
Well, do you remember Ice Truck Killer's confrontation with Chris? And he says, "I loved you and Opie and Anthony," and he was saying.
Right.
So
right.
it mirrors Ice Truck Killer's fascinations, doesn't it? So he was a TCAP and Chris Hansen fan, as Ice Truck Killer was. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, talk about parallels there. Fucking weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he like I said, he knew the cops were outside. He knew what Chris was. He pretty much, you know, he said as soon as he saw the brownies, he knew everything. I mean, he knew he was. The show was about him now. The show that he enjoyed is now starring him.
I know. What a weird situation.
And you know, to his credit, I believe this happened. Somebody could correct me, but just like Alonzo, he pled out his arraignment. He pled out right away. He admitted his guilt. He admitted his guilt. He just wanted to take his lumps as soon as possible.
Trey's just said, did the name Ice Truck Killer come from Richard Kuklinski? Is it possible that they based the Ice Truck Killer's character on Richard Kuklinski? Because I did read the book called The Iceman about Richard Kuklinski.
The mob killer, the mob hitman. Yeah.
Yes. There was what was the movie called with Winona Ryder and
Iceman Cometh or something like that? Or... No.
No, I don't think that was it. But there was a feature film about it. Was it just, what was it fucking called? Does anybody in the chat know what the feature film called was with Winona Ryder? Who was
that was Iceman, not Ice Truck Killer.
What was the actor called who played him? He played Zod in Man of Steel.
Oh, that guy. Well, I know his face. I don't know his name. It's one of those actors.
Quite a good actor.
English, right?
I don't think so. I know most of the good actors usually are, but not in this case. But yeah, he's Brendan Shannon. I don't think it's Brendan Shannon, Scarlett. I think it's Michael Shannon. Is it Michael Shannon?
Oh, him. Oh, that guy. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. He's not British, by the way.
No.
He's ours.
But he is a good actor. But anyway, that was a good film. Good book as well about him. Fucking hell, the shit he did. That guy. Talk about being a nice man. I mean, wow. He used to. You got the Shannon part right, Scarlett. He fed people to sharks. Once he had to eliminate someone for the mafia and chucked him in. The mafia wanted people eliminated in certain ways. So sometimes they'd say like, right, just kill him quickly, and then other times they'd want him.
Send him out.
Tortured, so he'd cut them and throw them in the ocean and wait for the tiger sharks to eat them. It's brutal, isn't it? What a way to go. So do you have? It's now your turn, Mr. Koala. Do you have any other that question is pointless. Of course, can I say what's one of your other favourites?
Well, somebody mentioned in the chat, and I totally agree. I love Married but Looking for Fun 31313. That man is he was fantastic entertainment.
Sir, please.
Slurpees. But the thing is, he called himself. We talked about this before, Andrew. He called himself Married and Looking for Fun, but he was divorced.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So what's the psychology behind that name?
He could have made it back when he was married, just before the relationship went tits up, as I say.
But then if you could change your name and then not say, "Hey, I'm trying to cheat on my wife," and is anybody interested in that? Probably get you, more.
But some guys would use the tactic to say that they're married because they think it makes them more attractive to women. In some cases, it does. I think that like if in certain situations, if a woman thinks you're unobtainable, it's just a bit of a strange paradox, if you get what I'm saying, isn't it? Maybe that was it.
That's a weird hook.
True though.
Yeah, I agree with that. There are some women who, feel like it's extra flattering if they can get a guy to cheat on his wife.
Yeah.
It gives them a big boost in confidence, I guess.
And it's not just that though. They kind of enjoy the chase, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
And the forbidden fruit in a way. Bit of excitement, bit of danger. Some people are very complicated, twisted creatures, aren't they? Look at that face on your screen.
Oh, you know what?
Total despair.
The chat cleared it up, by the way. Apparently, he was divorced by a day or so, and he was probably still chatting with that name. Probably when he was looking for fun and married. So when he was actually married, he had this name and he just didn't change it. What if the decoy ever asked him, hey, what's up with you got a wife here? I never read. I've read some parts of the chat, which he was very much the kind of predator that wanted child bride, like Lauren.
Yeah, which is interesting because if I saw someone with a screen name that said Married and Looking for Fun, I would assume that they did not want a relationship or commitment. They just wanted fun. But from what I remember, he was, professing his love for this kid. And he wanted to, is that the same guy he wanted to, like, have her move in with him and pretend he was her uncle or something?
I don't remember him saying that, but I don't remember hearing that. It could be true, but I remember that there was parts where he was concerned about her medical condition and what would happen if she needed medical care. He would say,
"Oh, okay, yeah."
I think that's what it is. I think the moving part was already a kind of a fait accompli. It was already going to happen. They're going to get married.
Yeah, I see.
Everywhere, but he had it all planned out. He really did. And one of the calls, it was really funny. He was in the military. He's cleaning his guns in the barracks while he's talking to her. I thought that was really strange.
I don't think I'll ever understand these people's need to do it must be their attraction to children must be stronger than, say, my attraction to Angelina Jolie or whatever. There's a girl at work, right? I'll give you an example. Not of me, you know, going after kids or anything, but sorry about the gulping, just a bit thirsty. So there's a girl in our place who is ridiculously attractive, just beautiful girl. It's a little bit like me just jumping on her and sexually attacking her. You know, I have a massive attraction to her because I'm a guy and she's an attractive woman. So these guys have an attraction to children, but they will risk everything. It's like, even if I sent that girl who's out of my league at work a text or an email and said, will you go out with me? Then I'll risk potentially humiliation. They risk, and I won't do it. I haven't got the balls because I know I'm not going to get anywhere. But why would they risk their life? Look at the picture that's on your screen now with Resta Cruz. He knew that he was destroyed, that his life, that's why he was broken, because he'd lost everything. Everything. He may as well be dead, and that's why he was in that position when he was getting interrogated. Do you get what I mean? That's why the realization, and he was obviously a little bit of a weak emotional character. It probably comes across in the chat log. It's something I'll never be able to grasp. Is why did he? It's just something that I can't fathom. So what I'm trying to say is that compulsion for these guys who are attracted to children, is it stronger than my attraction to attractive women?
It's apples and oranges. I don't think it's the same thing. I don't think you can compare your attraction to this woman.
No, of course, but I'm using it as just a general example. Do you understand the point that I'm making? Why do so many of these people risk their entire life for it? That's just something I can't comprehend.
Yeah, I have no idea why, but that's what makes them so dangerous, that they're willing to, obviously that compulsion is so strong that they're willing to risk their whole lives. Everybody knows what it means to be caught attempting to commit a crime like that, or committing a crime like that. You're ostracized from society forever. You're going to have a hard time. You know, you can't just live wherever you want to. You can't just work wherever you want to. And the whole world, or anyone who has access to the registry, is going to know what you did. But for some reason, that compulsion or desire is strong enough to make them risk it, which is crazy, Andrew, like you said. I mean, and I think Shin's right. You can't compare your attraction to women to their, because your attraction to women isn't forbidden. You know what I mean?
There's a lot more risks associated than just humiliation.
Oh, of course. I suppose the comparison I'm trying to draw is, like, my attraction to women I consider quite strong. Their attraction to children must be even more so, for them to, because the girl at work, or girls I ask out or whatever, if I would sooner never get it on with anybody for the rest of my life than ever risk being in that situation. I'd just cut it off. Do you know what I mean? Sorry to be vile, but you know, I to be labelled one of them guys would be my worst nightmare.
But sometimes I think that a lot of these guys don't understand the risks, and forget about that for a second. I think some of these guys don't understand how wrong it is. You hear a lot of people. You hear a lot of them after express remorse in ways that go around that moral issue. I was stupid. I was ignorant. I knew it was a setup. I mean, that still doesn't go around the question. Why didn't you think it was wrong? You're talking to a 12 or 13-year-old. That's the issue. And it's like that, you know, even when they try to get the some kind of a public service message out of that guy who was trying to say, never mess with somebody on the internet because you don't know who they actually are. No, that's not the lesson. You know, he kept Chris trying to tell him over and over. How about never mess with a 13-year-old girl? Oh yeah, that too. You know, I don't think it's in their mind that, and it's not a question of whether their environment doesn't provide that information. You know, it's just, for some reason, it's a distant issue for them. You know, and that's why you have rape class. You know,
Scarlett Ebener said you need to bring a pizza. You know what, Scarlett? I never fucking thought of that. Shall I turn up with what's the most popular pizza? It seems to be pineapple on TCAP for some reason. I've noticed. And do you know what? I fucking hate pineapple pizza. I just thought I'd mention
thank
that.
you.
Me too.
Thank you.
Fucking fruit on pizza. Well, suppose
Yeah.
so technically tomatoes are fruit. But yeah, Resta Cruise is one of the definitely the most interesting ones. I'm gonna have to do another video on him, but every time I do it, it gets taken down. But I will, you know what? I will do. It's difficult with some of the footage from TCAP. They're still quite funny about what they take down, but with him, his reaction was the typical broken, the stereotypical or archetypal broken man, wasn't it? Someone who'd just been destroyed. Lorne's reaction was over the top and cartoon-like. His reaction was very real. And
it was unfair because Lauren got to lounge back with his feet up and enjoy the show without. And this guy went to his knees and had to really beg.
Yeah.
I mean, Lord, I still can't go over how somebody could be reclined when that's happening to them. I mean, I don't know. Why don't you know? I'd be leaning forward, my hands in my head, my head in my hands.
Oh, Lauren with his feet up.
Yeah, just up, and then he actually has his legs crossed too at one point.
I think he was frozen. He didn't dare to move.
I agree. I think he was frozen with fear.
Who could go through that with such a relaxed body, like, but you know, the way he was sitting? I mean, that was brilliant. And they had the chair that already in the reclined position, so the predators were kind of like forced to get into that position, you know, kind of straddle it and then sit back onto it. And when Lauren got up, he didn't, you know, fold it back up. He just walked around it. I think that's what happened. So
let's have a brief conversation about pizzas. Chicken on pizza is as bad as pineapple. Pineapple is disgusting. People have banana on pizzas. Now, I'm sorry, but you should be...
No, they don't.
Yes, they do. They should be chucked in with the child molesters if you have banana on pizzas.
Sweet baby Jesus.
I've never heard of such a thing.
Someone told me that, but I've never seen it. I might have been misled. Apple, I have also heard. Am I going... No, someone definitely told me there's such a thing as apple on pizzas. What's all
I
that
could
about?
see that. I don't want to eat it, but I could see that. Not bananas, though.
Put raisins. Why don't you just guys
raisins?
Put cinnamon on it? I just make it a bun.
I bet like a brownie pizza, because that'd be the perfect TCAP food. So they brought a brownie pizza, you know, kind of melding the kind of the two most favourite iconic snacks and foods in the TCAP universe.
Katie Reptile's got it right. Goat cheese and balsamic vinegar, and I would throw arugula too on that too.
Oh, that's right. TCAP recipes. I can't believe I've not even mentioned Jeff Sokol. He was the pizza predator, wasn't he? He came with. I did an analysis of his his confrontation with Chris, which was really interesting. I've not even finished the interview yet. I'm gonna have to get back on that soon. He's just casually eating his pizza as he's talking to him, and it's very interesting because it's like he's just trying to maintain a level of serenity, isn't it? So, you know, like Grace Under Pressure, you know, because he's quite arrogant. Have you watched the Amanda? Have you watched a lot of the Jeff Sokol footage?
Oh yeah, yes, over and over again. How could someone eat at a time like that? When I get nervous or scared or stressed out or pretty much have any unpleasant feeling, I can't eat at all. I could never imagine being caught.
It's a natural physiological reaction to not eat, because you're running on adrenaline, aren't you, when you're in a stressful situation? So
exactly.
Yeah.
Donnie Morrison ate himself into a diabetic coma. Jesus Christ! You know, I have a theory about that. I believe some of these predators, like Westerbeck, remember when he was eating those Pringles or whatever the hell it was? He just talking like that. I have a feeling they're thinking, this is the last food on the outside I'll have for a while.
I think they were trying to look casual. Yeah, like, oh, I didn't really do it. I'm not worried. I have nothing to worry about. I wasn't really doing anything wrong. So they're trying to look casual and nonchalant, and maybe it's just like a nervous just something to do with their hands and something to look at rather than looking Chris in the eye, maybe.
Well,
I couldn't imagine doing it,
Salkin
though.
was pretty hungry, though. He was.
Yeah.
That wasn't somebody who was nibbling. That was somebody who was just putting a whole triangle down his throat.
I don't even want
Well,
this cookie.
He was smelling that pizza in the car for God knows how long before he got there. I'm sure he was really looking forward to eating it. And you're right. Shin, you're right. He probably was like, "Oh shit, this is the last time I'm gonna enjoy pizza. I better do it now."
And going back to Donnie, it was really funny because he was sitting with the cookies, and they were to his left, I guess, and the decoy was behind the door. And she goes, "Have some cookies." He immediately went into. I mean, there was no delay. It was like it looked like if she didn't say anything, he would have snuck one anyway. And when she said okay, he ate them, if not one cookie at a time, at least a half a cookie at a time. He was taking huge. He wasn't even taking bites off the cookie. Then you see him being carried out in a stretcher, with an IV bottle. He's, I don't know. It's almost like his mother wasn't there to tell him to not eat cookies.
He is a very interesting character. Donald Morrison is. I wish we had more material on him. I have a feeling he would be really funny.
He'll tell
really
you
interesting.
He'll tell you what happened in Michigan, Texas. He'll tell you everything.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do. I'm probably gonna have to do a video on that guy. I've never really covered him. There's fucking hell. There's so many predators I've not even touched upon. But I was gonna do a couple of videos on the. Who was the? Do you remember when we were talking about the obscure predators, Amanda? And you brought the chat log up from Was it Hayden?
Lauren.
Yeah. Brad Pitt.
I think it was Lauren Hayden.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Because that chat log, you see, I've never jumped at the most disgusting chat logs on my channel. I didn't want to there's all the 10 worst chat logs on Perverted Justice, which I have obviously looked at, but I never wanted to do videos about them because I just think they're too vile, and I'm not interested in just making videos just to get views and subscribers, and it doesn't really interest me, any of that.
Remember I called you about a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and I told you I read, what was his name? The guy in the Georgia Sting, the preacher, his chat log.
Which one?
Oh, shoot, what was his name? Mr. Gary, I'm going to lose everything, that guy. That, to me, is the most vile chat log.
I don't know who you mean, dude.
Yeah, he
what was his
he
name?
The guy who was going to bring his girlfriend
Yes,
along?
Phyllis. I remember
Phyllis, yeah.
Marvin Harris.
Okay, yeah.
He did some hefty time too. I wonder if
I don't dig into the chat logs unless I'm really interested in the predator. Like I've read the Vincent Ambrosio chat log.
Yeah.
Some of the Hanson versus Predator ones though are a pain in the ass though because there's tons of text.
Oh, you're not
kidding. It's not just your straightforward chat log.
They're a nightmare. They really are.
Chocolate, my favorite. I make about 10 dozen of them.
What made you, Amanda? What made you look at the Lauren Hayden one? Because because you found him attractive?
No, it wasn't. It was because he showed up with a dildo in his pants, and
that's a
we
good
were
answer.
talking.
That's a fucking good answer.
Well, we were talking about obscure predators, and I never hear anybody mention him. I had completely forgotten all about him, and then I was just kind of, looking through Google at random predators, and I thought, why do we never talk about this guy? Because his appearance on the show was so brief. He never actually made it to the house. But you'd think you'd get a lot more interest in some guy who calls himself Brad Pitt, or brags that he looks like Brad Pitt, and showed up with a big sex toy in his pants.
Yeah,
so that's
he was bragging about the size of his real penis, though, right?
Through the whole chat log. I think that's the only chat log I've actually ever read myself. The other ones, I'll listen to other people read it, like Joey's TCAP does the immersion packs, and he reads all the chats. I have a hard time sitting through it by myself, but I read his, and it was it was horrible.
Yeah. Andrew, look
And
at
that's another reason why I'm surprised that he is as obscure as he is, because his chat log was so bad.
And even though I don't like going over the vilest chat logs, I think that could be very fascinating, and I think I might do. I think I might just dive straight in and cover it and just put a disclaimer on there that it's going to be pretty. Because even when we were talking about it, if you remember, Amanda, I'm so glad that you picked that one because it was fascinating, really, really interesting. Some of it was difficult to read, wasn't it? Because I think we got parts of the chat log up as we were doing the video, didn't we?
Yeah, I think so. It was, yeah.
Amanda, do you know how much time you did or got, if any?
Oh, I think.
You get the long.
Don't quote. I think he might have. Oh shit! I want to say he got probation.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he got any time. I think he might have just got 3 years probation.
Yeah,
I did find somebody on YouTube read his chat log. I think it was Zoe Mauve. Again, don't quote me. I found somebody who read it and recorded it. And they put the information about his sentence. And yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just like probation.
Which is like, it's very inconsistent. I know it differs from state to state, but he was a sick guy, wasn't he? And for him to only get that was pretty, you know.
He was a part of the Long Beach sting, and I think a lot of those guys didn't get a lot of time, if I remember correctly.
I'm not sure if it was necessarily the statute either. It could have been maybe they weren't comfortable with the evidence, and they were just getting these guys convicted and getting them on the RSO. That was the important thing.
He got 3 years probation, 60 hours of community service, and obviously an RSO status. And, you know, he had a lot going for him. This guy, he was 5'11", 168 pounds, blue eye, good looking guy. Mathematical software engineer, mathematician, and a software engineer.
Well, he said that. What are we sure that is true?
No.
Because
I don't know.
Did he get that log, or did he say that, or is that in some narrative somewhere?
He told the decoy that in his chat. I know that.
Okay. Oh, you don't know.
I don't know if it's ever been confirmed. And I don't know. He misspelled a lot of stuff in the chat. That doesn't necessarily speak to whether or not he could be a software engineer, but he didn't come off as very intelligent to me.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Andrew, we talked about one name. I don't know if you want to move on, but take a look at father sons in the chat's screen name.
Okay. Let me just have a look.
2003. Yeah, I guess it is 2000. Okay. Remember that guy?
Hold You Close to 2003.
Does everybody know who that is?
No, I don't remember.
It's on the screen now. I've put it on the screen.
No, but I'm asking, does everyone know what Predator that guy is?
Yeah, surely.
Hold You Closer 2003. Who is that guy?
It's James Klein, isn't it?
No, you can't guess. You already know. We already talked about it. You're going to remember.
No, but he's one of the most famous ones because of the prank calls that Candid Fellow does, which are fucking brilliant. Like,
yeah.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, you're not work.
I'll come there about 7 or so. You see, it almost depends on what time I get out of here.
I believe it was Georgia. It's father and son. You know who it is, right?
It's Jim.
Oh, yeah, it is Jim. It is. Oh, yeah, that was the guy I was talking about.
Jim.
I thought we were talking. What was the Kit Kat guy's name? Oh, Need a Friend to Talk to. That's what it was. Okay, I apologize. It was Jim Klein. That's a funny name. That was Georgia too, right?
Need a friend to talk to. The Kit Kat guy? I think he was Georgia.
Yeah.
No, Jim Klein. Wasn't he Georgia too? No? Or was he?
Oh,
I think he was, I think he was.
All those guys got those gentle names down there.
It's Jim. It's funny when you listen to the prank calls so much and then you listen to the actual phone call. it's so funny the way Chinese food. He just comes out with it.
And he's talking to his coworker.
It's
I don't want to go back to work either. I'm never going to come back to work. I'll tell you what. You'll never see me again.
what was Arrested Development called?
That was the guy I'm talking about.
What was his screen name?
Need a friend to talk to.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, of course.
Need a friend to talk to. Where'd he get that? He didn't exactly have the. He didn't strike me as.
So ironically, he can't speak properly, can he? Need a friend to talk to. You know.
That's very
John Adam Daniels.
right. It's a very manipulative name for somebody who didn't have a lot of mental capacity.
Yeah.
He was pretty. I mean, he seemed pretty confident. He seemed pretty confident. Yeah, when he said, "Okay, baby," and she said she'd be right out. I was thinking, like, baby, really? Guy's got some.
Yeah, he was moved in.
He must be an alpha.
He wanted her to move in with him.
He's a fast mover.
Yeah, he was all ready to go. I'm sorry, sir. Just being stupid.
He was someone who Hold You Closer, Jim Klein. He's kind of. I'd have loved to have seen his uncut footage because he was just kind of like obnoxious and rude to Chris, wasn't he? Don't know what you're talking about. Don't know what you're talking about. Hold You Closer as well. What I don't understand about these guys is, well, with Hold You Closer I could kind of get it, but wouldn't they want to adopt screen names that they think girls would be attracted to? Like Tall Dreamy Doc is something that you could get, you know, a girl might be attracted to somebody who's dreamy, tall, a doctor, I'll have a bit of that kind of thing. But, you know, fucking Ice Truck Killer or Bald Beaver Hunter, you know, it's like, yeah, I'm going to go for that guy.
How about if you're looking for, you know, you could do the Michael Scott thing if you're looking for a woman with children and say little kid lover, you know. But I have no idea how to make these screen names attractive to what they can say. Lorne _A 2014. That would do it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the dumbest guys are the ones who use their own names in their screen name and then go after little kids online.
Jim Rout, one of them, I think.
Yes.
Kenneth Forston used his full name in just like Kenneth Forston. That was it.
What about Hard Chuck 1? Because it was Chuck Harding, but he found a creative little twist to sexualize his name.
Yeah, but how's Chuck a sexualized name?
No, Hard Chuck.
Yeah, but Hard Chuck, you're throwing the ball hard. You know, it doesn't. I don't understand that. But we know his innuendo. He's trying to make.
Right.
You know, the hard is what the operative word is.
Does anybody know what Lee Greer's were?
Well,
it was Lee Greer. Right. It was Lee _Greer something.
Fucking brilliant. The fries might be cold. Pickles.
No creativity.
Oh Lord.
Tall Dreamy Doc is interesting too.
Yeah.
He's tall and he is a doctor. I don't know who told him he was dreamy.
Is he someone, Amanda, that might have been attractive a few years ago before he lost his hair? Not to say that bald men are not attractive, because I would have to personally disagree with that. But do you get what I mean? I mean, he was getting getting on a bit, and maybe didn't carry the bald thing as well as what I do.
It's not even about the hair. I think it was more. He's very lanky, isn't he? He's very he's tall, but he's.
Comes across a bit geeky to me, actually.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
kind of like Mr. Burns. You know, he kind of.
Yeah, he does. He has got a bit of a Burns thing going on.
Man, I don't know if you remember this, but there was a very popular show on at that time. I can't remember the name. It's a hospital show. I wasn't really a fan of it, but
Grey's Anatomy, right?
Yeah.
And they called the doctor
Dreamy, Dr.
McDreamy.
Dreamy, Dr.
Right.
McDreamy. That's where you
They
got
called
it.
him
That's what I
McDreamy.
always assumed. That's what I
I
was.
thought of that. Yeah, he might be a Grey's Anatomy fan, but the actor who played what was his name? He's from Maine. Patrick Dempsey. Yeah, yeah. There, you can't really compare. You know, he's a handsome actor, and Maurice Wolin.
Yeah, but that's
dreamy.
That's what, yeah, you know, the perception that all doctors are dreamy.
And you know, you're playing.
My doctor's not dreamy.
But you're playing on the doctor thing, dreamy doc. It's better than putting white generic male. Let's put it that way.
I just love it. I just love that guy.
Let's have a bit of fun here, right? If Lorne was going to put a screen name on before he decided to put Lorne 200 whatever, what could he have put that would encapsulate his character?
Yeah, it would be Lorne, and then whatever his PIN number was.
Yeah.
It probably is 20014.
Who knows? Or a password or something, you know.
I mean, it's got to have some affiliation with Mr. Penis, hasn't it? Mr. Penis seeks Miss Vagina, you know what I mean, or something. You know, that would be Lorne's profile opening on his date. Mr. Penis seeks his Mrs. Vagina.
Did he have? He had a nickname as a kid, I guess. Frank. That wouldn't do it.
People are going crazy in the chat. Lorne,
Mr. Penis.
Lorne underscore low.
That's a good one.
Mum accepts you.
Dogs tied to treadmills. Good one.
Oh dear. We could have some fun.
Oh, my mom.
Yeah. I know what he put. I can't fucking name any.
I just want to do my cooking show.
Yeah. It'd just be like a cry, wouldn't it? Like, ooh. If you could actually verbalize a cry, that's what it'd be.
We have a DMAC discussion request. What was his name?
Sweet guy, something.
Wrestling dude, wasn't it? Was it wrestling dude?
Yeah.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
I mean, there's not Eurovision. There's not really much to say about DMAC in these. I mean, are you talking about DMAC as a whole being discussed as a character, or are we talking about yeah, exactly, yeah, or are we just talking about his name because wrestling dude? He was into wrestling. That's all there is to it.
Well, not necessarily. You know, again, what image are they trying to portray, right? So, number one, it has kind of like a dual capability for him. He can get into the wrestling crowd, you know, talk to those guys, and he can impress the 12 and 13-year-olds thinking he's a wrestler.
Yeah, because, of course, the screen name, what we got to remember is back then, like 13 years ago, when people were talking online, chat rooms were a new thing, and they were using it across multiple different chat rooms, weren't they? Like, you wouldn't have now just one screen name for Yahoo, would you? You've got your Facebook, you've got YouTube. You know, people. I mean, are there still like random chat rooms that people go into now? I mean, I've never been into chat rooms. Do this? You know, how does it work these days?
I don't know. The only chat room I've ever been in, especially during this period, was when I was gambling online, and you could talk to people there. That's the only time I ever chatted. I didn't even know there was like. Well, actually, I did. You know, because you see that on Yahoo homepage, you know, chat and things like that. But I never really. To tell you the truth, it looked kind of boring. Yeah, but some people like it.
DMAC has a body like Pizza the Hut. I fucking love that movie. Pizza the Hut. Yeah. So we'll have to start wrapping it up because I want to go to bed early. And so what have we got? Any like? What was the other vile name that someone came out with? Right, we can't do. It wouldn't surprise me if the stream gets taken down now, but we've got to do. Is it Warwicker?
Can I? Yes.
Yeah.
Can I blank you blankly? I think you know what I mean. Someone put it in the chat, but I'm not going to say it. Yeah, there you go. Cheers, DK.
Yeah.
Can I? You spelt it wrong, but that's probably a good thing.
Well, first of all, the name's mutually inconsistent. If you're asking for consent, it's not rape. So, not sure what he's
It's
doing
a good point, that. It's a good
But
point.
he likes that role play chat room thing. So.
Well, yeah, that's his thing.
It's funny
People
because like pretend assault was until there was all the incest shit going on, the most popular form of pornography. So to play that role was very disturbing. There was a Netflix documentary about young girls that got into porn for a bit of money, and they were struggling with the type of videos they had to do, which was the pretend assault kind of thing, and that was something. And like, if that's what people are into, that's fucking fine, isn't it? But when you're delving into children, it's like, hang on a minute.
Yeah, but that guy was a fucking monster. Yeah, he was like a nose guard for an NFL team. He was huge, and that's like.
I read his chat log though, dude, and he got straight to the point straight away. I mean, there was no bullshit with that guy. I'm not saying it's admirable, but he got to it very fucking early on. He set his stall out. He said, "This is what I want to do. Do you think it's weird?" And obviously the decoy kept him on the hook.
Yeah. I wonder if that's his first one that bid for that.
Well, you'd fucking hope so, wouldn't you?
Well, my guess is he probably ended up getting 4 or 5 lines into a chat before or something. But for that long, that must have been. Yeah, you would definitely hope so. But this guy, I'll tell you though, one of the things that was interesting about him is he was quite the gentleman in person.
He was, it's a really good way of putting it, that Shim, because he was very honest. He was polite,
very unassuming. Didn't use his size to intimidate.
That's what's interesting about these guys, right? It's a little bit like like Hannibal Lecter is actually a nice guy. When you first see him in Silence of the Lambs, and Clarice goes in there, and her hair's wet because she's been in the rain, and he hands her a towel, and he's dead considerate, he's kind, but yet he's got this monster inside of him. The monster who's a nice guy. Some of these people, like you said, like him, he comes across as a really nice chap. Like, even D-Mac, right? He would come across as a sweet, pitiable character. Not just because of the disability, but the way he speaks in his soft tones and he giggles. He just like, you would say, if you didn't know what shit he was into, you'd say, never hurt a fly, that guy, wouldn't you? You know what I mean? You just wouldn't. Hannibal's a better cook than Lorne. Do you get what I mean? Though it's very strange, isn't it? Like this kind of mask that they all wear. I mean, we've all got a hidden part to us, haven't we? But fuck me, man.
But
a lot of these guys weren't the I guess stereotypical predator that you would imagine when you hear that word, like lurking in alleyways waiting for children or women to cross their path. I think that was one of the most engaging parts of the show, is that so many of the men just were average guys that you would never guess would do stuff like that, like the doctor, for example. Maurice Wolin. I'm sure he was an upstanding citizen. He was educated. All that. And he, no one would have ever guessed that he was into that kind of stuff.
I got to take off. Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
No, that's what Maurice said. Sorry.
Oh, right. No, well, ironically, we're gonna have to get Crooked.
I love that part.
You love it. Yeah, it's. I love
casually glasses on.
I saw.
I love it when he throws the sunglasses down.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna do anything.
Why did he break his own glasses? Why? I don't understand that.
It's a gangster move. That's what that is.
He's going to need them in prison anyway. Do you know what I found interesting about that whole scenario? Is how the ice, he's pouring the ice lemonade into the glass, and it makes a mess everywhere. He goes for a towel, and when he goes for the towel, he spots the camera crew. It's like it was destiny that he was going to go out, that he wasn't going to get directly faced. It was just, I found it very odd that
he would have left, I think, as soon as Chris came out. I had a feeling about that. I don't think he would have stayed. I think he would have been one of these guys. I think man, to answer your question, with the sunglasses throwing him down, I think he had a small little smoke bomb that would have been detonated, and then give him a smoke screen to get away from the cops. It didn't go off, so that's what happened with that. But when he saw the camera crew, he saw his career flush down the toilet, everything.
And he was smart enough to know he couldn't talk his way out of it.
Yeah, and if
I
Chris
think he would have talked to Chris.
Yeah, exactly. If Chris came out, that would have just, that would have been the death of 1,000 cuts. He would not have stayed for that.
He fought tooth and nail to get that conviction over. Well, not the conviction overturned, but to fight the conviction.
Yeah. He's got a wonderful family, from what I understand. Good practice. By the way, he worked for a pharmaceutical company. Cancer research, I guess you can call it that. But what they typically do is they monitor clinical trials. They monitor patients, subjects, and that. So it wasn't like we lost a great scientific mind.
Oh, okay.
But, anybody that's a doctor, any kind of professional vocation, especially one for public service, doctor, police officer, it's always more difficult to see those people do that, because the respected people and people that would be expected to walk the straight and narrow and set an example to other people, it's difficult to see those.
There should be a special punishment for him, where you say, "Look, you're going to be in prison for the rest of your life until you come. We'll provide you with a lab and everything you need until you come up with a cure for cancer. If you do that, you get out." Something like that. I mean, all these special skills, all these people who ruin their lives because of it. Lawyers, doctors, all kinds of professions. University of Cincinnati distance learning.
Can't forget that. Speaking of police officers, do you guys remember Todd Spikes?
Yeah, he was a bastard, wasn't he?
Yeah. Do you remember his screen name?
Wasn't it pretty vile?
If I am correct, it's loves to eat your peach.
Oh yeah, I remember that. He wanted to have the decoy in her mother, right?
Oh God, I don't know.
Yeah, he did in his chat log. She said it was pretty gross. And then he buddied up with the guy who wouldn't let go of his keys when he got out of jail.
Oh really?
Yeah. Well, there's a footage of him and that guy walking out and bumming a cigarette from each other. I can't remember which one. They shared a cab or something. Who knows?
And just before we go, I'm just going to mention we couldn't do like a little stream about screen names without mentioning Lover Man Genius.
Tenuous.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he was on my list too.
If you're going to call yourself Lover Man Genius, at least run it through spell check.
What if it was intentional? What if he meant?
I was thinking that it was kind of an ironic bit of a sense of humour twist to try and, but I sense not.
I doubt it. Yeah, I doubt it.
He was pretty laid back though.
Yeah.
And that's another one.
When am I going to be on TV?
Yeah. And he had a hard time getting out of that chair.
He did, didn't he? Yeah. He was the guy that said, "Can I have a lift?" And Chris is like, "No, you can't have a lift."
That's
the guy.
He loved that guy. Malik
the SpongeBob. Yeah, he had the SpongeBob jacket on, right?
Can I at least have a ride home? Can you call me a cab? Can you do something?
Oh, and he said he was Didn't he try to say he was 17 and he guessed Chris asked him what year he was born and he was way off.
Went the wrong way, I think. Instead of 10 years, 10 years ahead of his birth date, I don't know what he did.
Well, he even said when Chris asked him what year he was born, he said something like, I can't remember exactly the year he named, but he said like 1985, I think.
Like a question, yeah, like a question. 85?
Right.
Was I born in 85?
He's funny. I'm gonna rewatch that one later.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Right, so we're gonna have to wrap up now, guys. It was a pretty short stream. Apologies, usually they run a little bit longer than this, but I'm tired. The problem is with these streams, I like to do them a bit later, but it's just the timing of it's like it's 20 past 10 here at the minute, and I'm in work. I've got to go for work at like 5:30. So unless I decide to take the day off, I haven't decided yet. It's a dangerous situation when you can just take whatever days off you want, and you just think, I don't know. Do you know, you wake up and you just think, anyway, never mind, I'm rambling. But guys, it's been good to see you all in the chat. We're gonna do, hopefully next week, I know I've been talking about it in a while, but there's been all kinds of shit going on lately, haven't there? We were going to do a Vincent Ambrosio stream because I really find a lot about his case very interesting. I was hoping to get Joey's TCAP channel on here because he went to the trial, to the hearing. So he's got some insight in it. I've done an analysis of the interview and the footage. So it's definitely... And you guys have got opinions about him too, haven't you?
The genes.
I do, yeah.
Apart from the genes, Shin. Although that is definitely something. If I was thinking of doing a full stream just on his genes, if I'm being honest.
Well, that's the only thing I could bring to the table in that discussion. I don't know him as well as you and Joey, so okay, I'll talk about it.
Yeah, okay. Well, we need someone to, give the lowdown on his attire, so that's all good.
The genes are worth talking about.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I really think they are.
Rudy Parker.
Okay. Yeah. Right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you've had a bit of fun. Anyway. TCAP Recipes has made a few Ambrosio videos. He's definitely, I would say, he's the most popular new Predator out of the Hansen versus Predator ones. I would say. He's kind of like. Hansen versus Predator's version of McFetridge in a lot of ways, isn't he, really?
There was more hype behind him because his stuff came out later because of legal issues going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of comparisons with the McFetridge case, though.
Oh, yeah. Again, we talked about this. I don't know if you want to get into it now, but, he's 19, first of all, this kid. So we were talking about a separate category. We were talking about those guys, and he was in that category, but Dustin seemed a lot more experienced and dangerous.
Oh, definitely, yeah. There's a lot of differences and there's a lot of similarities as well. Although, some of the similarities are on the surface level, but we can talk about that. Hopefully, we'll do that next week, and Tiffany might be joining us then as well. We'll see. Thanks to you, Amanda James. You've very kindly got off your raft to join us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And Shins Koala, sir, thanks for joining us as ever, dude.
Take care, dude.
So, guys in the chat, thanks so much for joining us. It's been a lot of fun. We appreciate your input because you've given us some things to think about in the chat. That's what it's all about. So, thanks a lot for joining us, everybody. Have a good evening. I hope the start to your week gets going good. So we will speak to you